There is a sentence that has stopped countless people before they ever begin building an online business. I can't code. They see lines of programming on a screen. They see developers building applications. They hear words like APIs, databases, frameworks, servers, and repositories. And the conclusion seems obvious. If they cannot program, they cannot build. But that conclusion confuses two very different things. Building software and building a business are not the same job. And in today's digital economy, you do not necessarily need to perform every technical task yourself to create something valuable.
Programming is a skill. Business design is another. A programmer may know how to build a database, create an application, or connect an API. But knowing how to write code does not automatically mean knowing which customer problem deserves to be solved. It does not automatically create a business model, a marketing strategy, or a reason for people to pay. The reverse is also true. Someone can understand a market and identify a valuable opportunity without being the person who writes every line of software. Modern businesses are often created by combining different skills.
Think about what is already available. Website themes can provide interfaces. Software products can provide functionality. No-code platforms can provide workflows. APIs can connect services. Cloud platforms can provide infrastructure. AI can accelerate certain tasks, and specialized developers can build the parts that require custom engineering. This changes the starting point completely. Instead of asking, how do I build everything, you can ask, which parts already exist, which parts can I configure, and which parts actually need to be built.
No-code tools take this idea even further. Instead of writing traditional programming instructions, users can often configure systems visually. They can connect forms to databases, create automated workflows, build pages, organize information, and connect different services through interfaces. That does not mean no-code eliminates technology. It simply changes how you interact with it. You are working at a higher level of abstraction. For certain businesses and workflows, that can dramatically reduce the amount of technical work required to get an idea into the real world.
Then there is low-code. Low-code approaches sit somewhere between visual configuration and traditional development. A large portion of the system can be assembled through existing components, while custom code can be introduced where additional flexibility is required. This can be useful when a business needs more control than a purely visual platform provides, but does not necessarily require everything to be developed from scratch. The important concept is not the label, it is the ability to choose the appropriate level of technical complexity for the problem.
This is where existing software products can become interesting from a business perspective. Instead of paying someone to develop every basic function from zero, an entrepreneur can evaluate software that already provides part of the required functionality. A marketplace platform, booking system, learning platform, inventory system, membership system, or another specialized application can potentially become one component of a larger business. But remember the lesson from the previous episodes. Buying software does not mean buying a business. The product still needs to fit the market, infrastructure, licensing requirements, configuration, and customer experience.
Then there is the connective layer of modern software, APIs. You do not need to understand every line of an API implementation to understand its business significance. At a high level, APIs allow different software systems to communicate. A payment service can connect with a website. An application can communicate with an AI service. A platform can send information to another system.
These connections allow entrepreneurs to combine specialized capabilities rather than rebuilding every capability themselves. In many ways, APIs are part of the infrastructure that makes digital businesses modular. Artificial intelligence is adding another layer to this shift. AI can help explain technical concepts, generate drafts, assist with code, analyze information, create content, and accelerate certain development tasks. But there is an important distinction. AI can reduce the difficulty of many technical activities. It does not remove the need for judgment. A generated solution still needs to be evaluated. A business idea still needs validation, and a system still needs to work reliably for the people using it. AI can become an accelerator. It should not become a substitute for thinking.
So, when should you actually hire a developer? There is no universal threshold. If a requirement is highly specialized, technically complex, security sensitive, or impossible to achieve with existing tools, professional development may make sense. The goal is not to avoid developers. The goal is to use them strategically. If a developer spends weeks rebuilding something that already exists as a suitable component, resources may be wasted. But if an important part of the business requires custom engineering, trying to force a generic tool to do something it was never designed to do can create a different kind of problem.
This creates a different definition of the entrepreneur. You do not necessarily have to be the person who performs every technical task. Your role can be to understand the problem, design the business model, define the customer experience, choose the right components, coordinate the system, and make decisions about where resources should go. In other words, your advantage can come from architecture. Knowing what needs to exist, how the pieces connect, and why they exist can be just as important as knowing how to build each individual component.
Imagine starting with a simple idea. You identify a problem. Then you determine what the customer actually needs. From there, you identify the components required to deliver that value. Perhaps a website, perhaps a software product, perhaps a payment system, perhaps automation, perhaps an API, perhaps a developer for one specialized function. You assemble the pieces, test the system, observe how customers interact with it, and improve it over time. That is a very different process from trying to build everything from scratch. And for many entrepreneurs, it can be a far more realistic starting point.
You do not need to know every programming language to participate in the digital economy. You do not need to build every database, write every integration, or create every interface yourself. What you need is the ability to recognize problems, understand customers, evaluate technology, and assemble the right components into a system that creates value. Sometimes you will build, sometimes you will buy, sometimes you will configure, sometimes you will automate, and sometimes you will work with someone who has a skill you do not have. The future of online business is not necessarily about doing everything yourself. It is about knowing what should be built, what already exists, and how the pieces can work together. This is NEXNET, Decoding Systems, Architecting the Future.